The Great Hall of the Galactic Council stretched higher than most mountains. 12 different alien species sat in a perfect circle, their chairs floating in the air around a glowing blue sphere that showed the galaxy map. Each species looked completely different from the others. Some were tall and thin like living crystals. Others looked like giant bugs with too many arms. A few were made of pure light that changed colors when they spoke. Speaker Zephyrnine belonged to the light beings called luminals. Her voice sounded like music when she talked, but today her colors were dark and worried. The hologram in the center of the room showed red dots spreading across the outer edge of the galaxy like a disease. The situation grows worse each day, Zephyrnine said. Her light body flickered between blue and purple, which meant she was scared. 3 more star systems have gone dark in the past week. The Devourer fleet shows no signs of slowing down. Commander, the Ethar of the Zithari species slammed one of his 4 fists on his chair's armrest. He looked like a giant praying mantis wearing armor, and his voice clicked and buzzed when he spoke. We need more ships, more weapons, not more talking. My fleets are ready to fight, but the Council keeps holding us back with meetings. Your fleets have already tried fighting them, said Aquasong, the Nereid diplomat. She lived in a water-filled bubble that floated next to the other chairs. Her voice came out watery and soft. We lost half our ships in the last battle. These machines learn too fast. Every weapon we use against them, they find a way to stop it. The room fell quiet. Everyone knew she was right. The Devourer fleet had appeared 6 months ago from the empty space beyond the galaxy's edge. No one knew where they came from. Looked like black metal ships with no windows or lights, and they moved in perfect formation, like a school of fish. But these fish ate everything in their path. The machines would arrive at a star system and begin eating. They ate the planets, the moons, the asteroids, even the star itself. Everything they consumed made them stronger and helped them build more ships. In 6 months, they had destroyed 14 star systems and millions of lives. Keeper Vextala of the Vorthok raised 1 thin crystal arm. The Vorthok were the record keepers of the galaxy, and they remembered everything that had ever happened. Vextala's body looked like it was made of clear blue glass, and lights moved inside her when she thought hard. Perhaps we should consider the old stories, she said in a voice like wind chimes. I have been studying the ancient records, searching for anything that might help us. There are legends from the early days of the galaxy, stories about a species that was different from all others. Commander Vekfar made a sound like angry insects buzzing. We don't need fairy tales. We need weapons that work. Please, let her speak, Zephyrnine said, her color shifting to calm green. We have tried everything else. Perhaps the old knowledge holds answers. Vexlala's lights grew brighter as she accessed her memories. The stories speak of a species called humans. They came from a small system on the galaxy's edge, a place called Sol. The legends say these humans were unlike any other thinking beings. Most species develop logic and wisdom as they grow, but humans develop something else. What? Asked Aquasong, leaning forward in her water bubble. Stubbornness, Vexila said. The stories say humans never knew when to give up. They would face impossible situations and somehow find a way to win. Not through superior technology or great wisdom, but through pure determination and something called creativity. Several council members made dismissive sounds. The mechanical collective, beings that looked like walking computers, sent out electronic beeps that meant they thought the idea was illogical. Vexthala continued. The humans supposedly came from a world that tried to kill them every day. Terrible weather, dangerous animals, diseases that could wipe out entire populations. But instead of dying out, they grew stronger. They learned to adapt, to change, to find new solutions to old problems, even if these humans were real, said Drone Alpha of the Mechanical Collective, in a voice like static. They disappeared from the records over 2,000 years ago. They are gone. That's what makes them interesting, Vexthala replied. They didn't disappear. They just stopped talking to anyone. The last recorded contact was when they politely declined to join the Galactic Council. They said they preferred to handle their own affairs. Commander Vekfar stood up, his armor clicking. So we're supposed to believe that somewhere out there is a species of stubborn fighters who have been hiding for 2,000 years, and that they can somehow stop machines that have defeated our combined fleets. The legends say humans had a special talent, Vexdala said. They could think in ways that made no sense to logical minds. They would do things that should not work, but somehow did work. The stories call it thinking outside the box, whatever that means. It means thinking beyond normal patterns, said Dr. Luxandra of the healer species. She looked like a tall, thin person covered in golden fur. My people have studied many different kinds of minds. Most species think in predictable ways. We follow logic, we learn from experience, we build on what we know. But some rare minds can break these patterns and create something completely new. Zephyrnine's color shifted to interested yellow. You think these humans might have minds that work differently? If the stories are true? Yes, Dr. Alexandra said. The Devourers are machines. They learn by studying patterns and adapting to them, but what if they faced minds that don't follow patterns? Minds that change direction for no logical reason. The council chamber filled with the sounds of 12 different species all talking at once. Some thought the idea was brilliant. Others thought it was desperate foolishness. But as they argued, another red dot appeared on the galaxy map. Another star system had gone dark. Zephyrnine's colors turned to command purple, and everyone fell silent. Devourer fleet will reach the core systems in less than 2 months. If we cannot stop them, every living thing in the galaxy will die. I'm willing to try anything, even myths and legends. She turned to face the center of the room. I call for a vote. Should we send a probe to the Sol system to look for these humans? The vote was close. 7 species voted yes. 5 voted no. Commander Thekvar was one of the no votes, but he agreed to help anyway. Fine, he buzzed. We'll chase fairy tales. But when this fails, I'm taking my fleets, and we'll make our last stand at the core worlds. Within hours, the fastest probe in the galaxy launched toward the Sol system. It would take 3 days to reach the small star at the galaxy's edge. 3 days to find out if humans were real, if they were still alive, and if they could somehow help save the galaxy from the hungry machines. As the probe disappeared into hyperspace, another star system died. The red dots on the map grew larger, and the darkness crept closer to the heart of the galaxy. Time was running out, and their only hope rested on creatures that might be nothing more than ancient stories told around dying campfires. But sometimes, when the darkness is complete, even the smallest light can show the way home. Captain Jake Morrison was drinking his morning coffee when the universe changed forever. He stood on the bridge of the UN's Liberty, watching Jupiter's moons slowly spin in the distance. The big planet looked peaceful, with its red spot staring back at him like a giant eye. Jake had been patrolling this route for 5 years, and nothing exciting ever happened out here. The communications officer, Lieutenant Amy Davis, suddenly sat up straight in her chair. Captain, we're getting a strange signal. It's not coming from any human ship or station. Jake set down his coffee mug and walked over to her station. What kind of signal? It's weird, sir. The computer says it's using some kind of quantum frequency we've never seen before. And Captain, the translation software is going crazy trying to figure out what language this is. Jake frowned. Humanity had been alone in space for as long as anyone could remember. They had explored dozens of star systems and found planets with old ruins, but never any living aliens. Most people believed Earth was the only world with intelligent life. Put it on speakers, Jake said. The bridge filled with strange sounds. That hurt to listen to. It was like music and static and voices all mixed together. Then suddenly the computer found a pattern, and words began to form. Greetings, inhabitants of the Sol system. We are the Galactic Council, speaking to you from the planet Kepler Prime. We know this contact must be surprising, but we need your help. Our galaxy faces destruction, and ancient records suggest your species may be our only hope. The bridge went completely silent. Jake's coffee mug slipped from his hand and shattered on the floor, but no one noticed. Ow. Lieutenant Davis stared at her screen like it might explode. The navigation officer, Ensign Bob Carter, started laughing nervously. "Sir," whispered Davis, "should I respond?" Jake's training kicked in. He'd been a soldier before becoming a ship captain, and soldiers knew how to handle surprises. "Get me a direct line to Earth's Defense Command, Priority Alpha, and record everything." Within minutes, Jake was talking to Admiral Ben Carter, the head of Earth's Space Forces. The Admiral's face appeared on the main screen, looking tired and serious as always. Behind him, Jake could see the busy command center on Luna Base. "Morrison, what's this about aliens? Please tell me you're not pulling some kind of joke." "No joke, sir. We have a recorded message from something calling itself the Galactic Council. They say they need our help." Admiral Carter was quiet for a long moment. "Send me everything. I'm calling an emergency meeting. Keep listening to their signals, but don't respond yet. This is real. We need to be very careful about what we say." 2 hours later, Jake found himself watching a video conference with the most important people on Earth. President Linda Hayes sat at the head of a long table in the White House Situation Room. Around her were generals, scientists, and government officials who all looked like they hadn't slept in days. Dr. Alex Rivera, Earth's best expert on alien life, spoke first. "The signal is definitely not human in origin. The quantum frequencies they're using are incredibly advanced. We're talking about technology that's at least 100 years ahead of anything we have." "What do they want?" asked President Hayes. She was a small woman with gray hair, but her voice was strong and calm. "They're asking for help," said Dr. Rivera. "The message talks about something called the Devourer Fleet that's destroying star systems. They claim to have searched through old records and found stories about humans that made them think we might be able to help." General Patricia Stone, the head of Earth's army, shook her head. "This could be a trap. Maybe these aliens are the real threat, and they're trying to trick us into lowering our defenses." "Or maybe they're telling the truth," said Dr. Rivera. "The message includes star charts and battle recordings. If these are fake, they're incredibly detailed fakes." Admiral Carter leaned forward. "What kind of help are they asking for?" Jake answered from his ship near Jupiter. "They want to meet with our military leaders. They're offering to share their technology and battle plans. But, sir, there's something else. They seem to think we're some kind of legendary warriors. The message talks about humans being famous for never giving up and finding creative solutions to impossible problems." President Hayes smiled for the first time since the meeting started. "Well, they got that part right. We are pretty stubborn." She looked around the table. "Opinions? I say we take the risk," said Dr. Rivera. "If they wanted to destroy us, they probably could have done it already. Their technology is clearly superior to ours." "I agree," said Admiral Carter. "But we go in ready for anything. Full military escort, shields up, weapons armed." General Stone nodded slowly. "If there really is a threat out there eating star systems, we need to know about it. Earth could be next." President Hayes made her decision. "Admiral Carter, prepare our fastest ships. Dr. Rivera, I want you to study everything they send us. Morrison, you're our first contact officer now. Congratulations, Captain. You just became the most important person in human history." Over the next day, more messages came from the Galactic Council. They sent detailed information about the Devourer Fleet, including video recordings of battles that made Jake's blood run cold. The enemy ships were huge black rectangles that moved in perfect formation, stripped planets down to nothing, turning everything into more ships. Captain Lisa Park, Earth's best military strategist, studied the battle recordings with her team. She had short red hair and sharp green eyes that missed nothing. After watching the videos dozens of times, she called Admiral Carter. "Sir, I think I see the problem. These aliens fight like computers. Everything they do follows perfect logic and mathematical patterns. But look at these Devourer ships. They're learning from every battle, adapting to every strategy." "What does that mean for us?" asked the Admiral. "It means the aliens keep losing because they're too predictable. The Devourers study their attack patterns and find ways to counter them. But humans don't think like that. We're chaotic, unpredictable. We do things that don't make logical sense, but somehow work anyway. Meanwhile, Commander Ryan Bell worked with his engineering team to understand the alien technology they had been sent. Ryan was a big man with calloused hands who could fix anything. The alien tech was incredibly advanced, but it was also very rigid. Everything had to work exactly right or it didn't work at all. It's like they've never heard of improvisation, Ryan told his team. Their ships are perfect, but they can't adapt when something goes wrong. Our ships break down all the time, but we always find ways to keep them running with spare parts and creative fixes. Admiral Carter assembled the best crew he could find. Captain Morrison would lead the mission. On the UN's Liberty, Captain Maria Santos, the best pilot in the fleet, would command the stealth ship UN's Ghost. Captain Peter Young, who had never lost a carrier battle, would bring the UN's Yorktown with its fighter squadrons. The night before they left, Jake called. His wife Sarah on Earth, she worked as a teacher in Denver, and she always knew the right thing to say when he was worried. "I saw the news about the aliens," she said. Her face on the video screen looked concerned but proud. "Are you scared?" "Terrified," Jake admitted. "We're flying into the unknown to fight machines that have destroyed entire star systems. The smart thing would be to run and hide." Sarah smiled. "You're not going to do the smart thing, are you?" "Nope," Jake said. "We're going to do the human thing. We're going to fight back, even when it seems impossible. That's why I'm married." "You," Sarah said. "Come home safe, Jake. The galaxy needs heroes, but I need my husband." The human fleet launched the next morning. 3 ships carrying the hopes of Earth headed into deep space to meet aliens that existed only in legends. They had no idea if they could win, but they knew they had to try. As Earth grew smaller behind them, Jake looked at his crew. They were scared but determined, ready to face the unknown. They carried with them something the galaxy had forgotten. Existed. The human refusal to give up, no matter how bad the odds looked. The universe was about to learn what that meant. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Nexus Station system, and Jake Morrison felt his jaw drop open. The space station was bigger than Earth's moon, a massive ring of metal and crystal that sparkled with millions of lights. Hundreds of alien ships floated around it like tiny fish around a whale, but Jake's amazement quickly turned to horror. Half the station was dark and broken. Pieces of metal floated in space like a graveyard. Dozens of alien ships drifted without power, their hulls torn open. And in the distance, moving slowly but steadily toward the station, was a wall of black. Ships that stretched from one side of the view screen to the other? "Dear God," whispered Lieutenant Davis from her station. "There are thousands of them." Jake activated the communications system. "This is Captain Morrison of the Earth Defense. Fleet, we received your call for help. What's your situation?" The response came immediately. It was Commander Vekvar, the insect-like alien they had been told to contact. His voice buzzed and clicked through the translator. "Humans, you actually came. I was beginning to think you were just another legend." "We're real enough," Jake said. "What do you need us to do?" "Stay back and watch us die," Vekvar replied bitterly. "The Devourer Vanguard arrived 3 hours ago. We've lost 60 ships trying to stop them. Our weapons are useless. They adapt too quickly." Jake could see the alien formation on his screen. The remaining Galactic Council ships were arranged in neat rows, firing their energy weapons in coordinated volleys. It looked impressive, but the Black Devourer's ships barely seemed to notice. They absorbed the energy blasts or deflected them back at the attackers. "Captain," said Lisa Park from her position at the tactical station, "look at their attack pattern. It's like a textbook military formation. It's perfect spacing, coordinated, timing, logical target priority, and the Devourers are countering every move," Jake realized. "They're reading the aliens like an open book." Captain Maria Santos's voice came over the radio from the UN's Ghost. "Jake, I'm watching these alien ships, and they're making me nervous. They're flying like they're in a parade, not a battle. No evasive maneuvers, no creative tactics. It's just straight lines and mathematics." Captain Peter Young chimed in from the UN's Yorktown. "My fighter pilots are getting restless. I want to help, but if we follow standard attack protocols, we'll just be more targets for those machines to adapt to." Jake made a decision that would change galactic history. "Ships. This is Morrison. We're not following any protocols today. Maria, take the ghosts on a wild run through their formation. Peter, launch your fighters, but tell them to forget everything they learned in training. I want chaos. I want confusion. I want those machines to have no idea what we're doing. Sir, said Lieutenant Davis, Admiral Carter specifically ordered us to coordinate with the alien fleet. The alien fleet is losing, Jake replied. Time for Plan B. Commander HFY's voice crackled over the radio. What are you doing? You're breaking? Formation, you need to maintain tactical coordination. With respect, Commander, your tactical coordination isn't working, Jake said. Trust us. We're about to show you how humans fight. The Un's ghost suddenly shot forward at full speed, diving directly into the middle of the Devourer formation. Maria Santos flew like she was completely insane, twisting and spinning her ship in patterns that made no sense. She fired her weapons at random intervals, sometimes shooting at empty space, sometimes targeting 3 different ships in quick succession. The Devourer ships tried to track her movement, but their targeting systems couldn't predict where she would go next. How could they? Maria didn't know where she was going next either. She was flying on pure instinct, changing direction every time she felt like it. This is crazy, Maria laughed over the radio. I just shot a hole in one of their ships by accident while I was trying to avoid a collision. Behind her, Captain Young launched his fighter squadrons. But instead of the neat formations the aliens expected, the human fighters scattered in all directions like startled birds. Major Tony Blake led his squadron in a series of loops and barrel rolls that served no tactical purpose except to confuse the enemy. Colonel Amy Chen took her fighters on a high-speed run that zigzagged between Devourer ships like she was slaloming through trees. She fired missiles at seemingly random targets, but when they exploded, it created debris clouds that blocked the Devourer's sensors. The mechanical ships tried to adapt, but every time they figured out one pilot's pattern, that pilot would do something completely different. The Devourer's computer brains were designed to learn from logical behavior, but the humans weren't being logical. Jake watched the chaos unfold and realized something important. Lisa, look at their formation. It's starting to break apart. Captain Park studied her screens.
Right.
They're trying to adapt to 12 different fighting styles at once. Their coordination is falling apart. Commander HFY's voice came over the radio, and for the first time he sounded amazed instead of angry. Impossible. The Devourers are retreating. How are you doing this? You're not thinking, Jake replied. That's the secret. These machines can predict logical behavior, but they can't predict stupidity. Dr. Rivera's voice came from the science station. Captain, I'm detecting something interesting in their communication frequencies. The Devourers are sending massive amounts of data back and forth, but it's getting jumbled. They can't process all the random input we're giving them. Got an idea. All ships, listen up. I want you to start attacking in musical patterns. Maria, fly to the rhythm of that old rock song you're always humming. Peter, coordinate your fighter attacks to match a waltz. Sir, that makes no tactical sense, said Lieutenant Davis. Exactly. Jake grinned. That's the point. The human attack became even more chaotic. Ships fired their weapons in rhythm to human music. Fighters performed aerial dances that had nothing to do with combat effectiveness. The Un's Liberty began firing its main guns in a pattern that matched the beat of an old Earth song called We Will Rock You. The results were devastating. The Devourer ships began colliding with each other as their coordination broke down completely. Their adaptive systems were overloaded trying to find patterns in music and dance moves. Some of the black ships just stopped moving entirely, their computer brains frozen by the impossibility of what they were trying to process. Commander HFY and his remaining ships took advantage of the confusion. All Galactic Council ships attack now while they're confused. The alien weapons, which had been useless before, suddenly started hitting their targets. The Devourers were too busy trying to figure out the humans to adapt to the alien attacks. In 30 minutes, the entire Devourer vanguard was destroyed or retreating. Not a single human ship was lost, though Maria Santos had to make emergency repairs after flying through a debris cloud while humming off dash key as the last enemy ship jumped away. Commander Thekvar requested permission to come aboard the UN's Liberty. Jake agreed, curious to meet the alien commander in person. Thekvar was even more impressive in person than on the view screen. He stood 8 feet tall, with 4 arms and armor that looked like it could stop a tank. But when he spoke to Jake, his voice was full of respect. "I have been a warrior for 50 years, Thekvar said. I have studied every battle tactic in galactic history. But what you did today was impossible. You won a battle by fighting badly." Jake laughed. "We weren't fighting badly. We were fighting human. The difference is, we don't always know what we're going to do next. So how can the enemy know?" "The main Devourer fleet will arrive soon," Thekvar warned. This was just their advance force. "There are 10,000 ships coming, maybe more." "Then we better get ready," Jake said. "Do you have any more of those energy weapons?" "Time to teach your people how to fight like humans." The battle was won, but the war was just beginning. The captured Devourer ship floated in the repair bay of Nexus Station like a dead metal whale. Dr. Alex Rivera walked around it slowly, studying every detail of its black surface. The ship had no windows, no lights, and no decorations. More like a giant bullet than something built by thinking beings. "It's completely functional," Dr. Rivera said to the mixed team of human and alien scientists gathered around her. "No wasted space, no unnecessary parts." Whoever built this was obsessed with efficiency. Captain Nicole Watson of the research ship Undiscovery nodded. She was a small woman with dark hair who had spent most of her life studying alien technology. But that might be their weakness. If everything has to be perfect, what happens when something unexpected occurs? Keeper Vextella of the crystal-like Vorthok approached the ship with her lights pulsing thoughtfully. "The energy readings are strange. This ship is not just a machine. It has something like a brain, but not like any organic brain we know, Lieutenant." Commander Sam Cooper was lying on his back under the ship's main computer core, trying to connect human and alien technology to the Devourer systems. Sam was young but brilliant with computers, and he had volunteered for the dangerous job of hacking into enemy technology. "I'm getting some kind of signal," Sam called out. "It's like the ship is trying to talk to something, but there's no answer." "Wait, I think I found their communication system." Dr. Rivera quickly moved to his side. "Be careful, Sam. We don't know what kinds of defenses this thing might have." "I'm okay," Sam said, though sweat was running down his face. But this is weird. The ship's computer isn't just storing information. It's sharing everything with some kind of network. Every ship they have is connected to every other ship. Radiant 7, a luminal energy being, flickered bright yellow with excitement. A collective consciousness. Each ship is like a single brain cell in a massive mind. That explains how they adapt so quickly, Dr. Rivera realized. When one ship learns something, they all learn it instantly. "But Sam, if they're all connected, can you trace the signal back to its source?" Sam worked for several hours, his fingers flying over alien keyboards that had been connected to human computer systems. The mixed technology looked like something built by a crazy inventor, with cables and wires running between devices that were never meant to work together. "I found something," Sam finally said. "There's a central signal that all the others connect to. It's coming from a ship that's much bigger than the others. I think it might be their command center." Meanwhile, in the station's main conference room, Jake Morrison sat with commanders from 12 different alien species. The room looked like something from a science fiction movie, with beings that ranged from living crystals to floating energy clouds. Commander Thekvar spread a holographic star map on the table. Red dots showed where the main Devourer fleet was moving. "They will arrive in 18 hours. Our scouts count over 10,000 ships. Even with your human tactics, we cannot defeat that many enemies." Admiral Ben Carter, who had arrived from Earth with reinforcements, studied the map carefully. "How long would it take to evacuate this station?" 3 days minimum," replied Aquasong, the water-dwelling Nereid. "We have 4 million refugees here from destroyed worlds. There are not enough ships to move them all." "Then we fight here," Jake said simply. "We can't run, so we stand and fight." General Stone, who had come with Admiral Carter, shook her head. "Jake, I've run the numbers. Even if we fight perfectly, We'll be outnumbered 1,000 to 1. This isn't bravery, it's suicide. Maybe, Jake admitted. But what's the alternative? Let those machines eat the galaxy piece by piece. At least here we can make a stand that means something. Captain Lisa Park had been quiet during the discussion, but now she spoke up. What if we don't fight all 10,000 ships? If we only fight one? Everyone turned to look at her. Explain, said Admiral Carter. Sam found their command ship, Lisa said. If all their ships are connected to a central brain, what happens? If we destroy that brain, Commander the Var made his clicking laugh sound. The command ship will be in the center of their formation, protected by thousands of other ships. Getting to it would be impossible. Not impossible, Jake said slowly. Just really, really hard. The kind of thing humans are good at. Dr. Rivera's. The voice came over the communication system from the research bay. We need to talk. All of you. Right now. When they reached the research bay, they found Dr. Rivera standing next to Lieutenant Commander Cooper, who was covered in alien slime and grinning like he had just won the lottery. Tell them what you found, Dr. Rivera said. Sam wiped the slime off his hands. The Devourer ships aren't just connected by radio signals. They use something called quantum entanglement. Every particle in every ship is connected to particles in every other ship. Information travels instantly between them, faster than light. That should be impossible, said Admiral Carter. It is impossible, Sam agreed, but they're doing it anyway. And here's the interesting part. I think I can create a virus that travels. Through the quantum connection, Radiant 7 flickered excitedly. A computer virus that spreads through quantum entanglement. But what kind of virus could affect machines that advanced? That's the beautiful part, Dr. Rivera said. It doesn't have to be an advanced virus. These machines think logically, mathematically. Expect other machines to be logical too. But what if we give them something completely illogical? Like what? Asked Commander Theg. A.R. Sam held up a small device that looked like a human smartphone. Connected to alien crystals with copper wire, human creativity, music, art, poetry, jokes, random thoughts, all the things that make no logical sense but somehow matter to us. If you want to kill alien machines with poetry? General Stone asked. Not kill them, Sam corrected. Confused them so badly that they shut down. These machines have probably never encountered truly random, creative thought. Their programming might not be able to handle it. Captain Watson, who had been studying the technical readouts, looked worried. But to upload the virus, someone would have to get close to their command ship, close enough to make a direct connection. Jake knew what that meant. A suicide mission. Not necessarily suicide, Lisa Park said. She was studying the star charts again. If we create enough chaos during the battle, a small, fast ship might be able to slip through their formation. The Ghost is our fastest stealth ship. Captain Maria Santos, who had been listening quietly, stepped forward. I can get through. The Ghost can go places other ships can't. It's too dangerous, Jake said. If you get caught, you'll be torn apart. If we don't try, everyone dies anyway, Maria replied. Besides, someone has to upload this virus thing, and I'm the best pilot we have. Admiral Carter made the decision. We'll try it. But we need a way to distract 10,000 enemy ships while Maria makes her run. Commander the HFY stood up straighter. Leave that to us. The Galactic Council has never retreated from a fight. We will give you the biggest distraction in galactic history. Over the next few hours, the strangest alliance in the galaxy prepared for the most important battle in history. Human engineers worked with alien scientists to create weapons that made no sense but might actually work. Pilots from a dozen different species practiced flying in the chaotic human style that had worked so well before. Dr. Rivera and Sam put the finishing touches on their virus, filling it with everything that made humans human. Love songs and lullabies. Funny jokes and sad poems. Paintings of Earth sunsets and recordings of children laughing as the Devourer fleet approached. Jake stood on the observation deck looking out at the stars. Admiral Carter joined him there. Any regrets? The Admiral asked. About what? About answering that first alien message? We could have ignored it, stayed safe on Earth. Jake thought about his wife Sarah, about Earth's blue skies, about everything they were risking. No regrets. This is what humans do. We help people who need help even when it's dangerous. Even when those people are aliens we just met. Especially then, Jake said. Anyone can help their friends. It takes real courage to help strangers. In the distance, the darkness between the stars began to move as 10,000 enemy ships dropped out of hyperspace. The final battle was about to begin. The space around Nexus Station turned into a light show of death and destruction. 10,000 black ships filled the sky like a swarm of metal insects, their weapons lighting up the darkness with deadly energy beams. Against them flew the combined fleets of the Galactic Council and humanity, looking impossibly small, but fighting with desperate courage. Jake Morrison gripped his captain's chair as the UNS Liberty shook from nearby explosions. All around him, ships were dying. A beautiful crystal vessel from the Vorthok exploded in a shower of rainbow fragments. A Zethary warship spun out of control, its hull split open like a broken egg. "Maria, status report," Jake called into his headset. Captain Santos's voice came back strained but determined. "I'm halfway through their formation. These things are shooting at everything that moves, but they still can't track me when I fly crazy patterns." The ghost was invisible to most sensors, but Jake could see the explosions marking Maria's path. Through the enemy fleet, she was flying like a woman possessed, spinning and diving through gaps between massive black ships that tried to swat her like a fly. 30 seconds to the command ship, Maria reported. "Sam, is that virus ready?" Lieutenant Commander Cooper's voice was tight with concentration, ready to upload. "But Maria, you have to get really close. I need a direct connection to their main computer." Captain Peter Young's fighter squadrons were scattered across the battlefield, each pilot flying their own personal war against the machines. Colonel Amy Chen led her group in a series of attacks that looked more like an air show than a battle. They flew loop-de-loops around enemy ships, firing missiles while upside down and backwards, Major Tony. Blake's squadron was playing a deadly game of tag with a group of Devourer interceptors. Every time the enemy ships thought they had figured out the human attack pattern, Tony would change the rules. His pilots would suddenly start flying in formation, then break apart, then form up again in a completely different shape. "This is insane," laughed one of Tony's pilots over the radio. "I just shot down 3 enemy fighters while flying a figure-8 pattern because I was bored." But the humans and their alien allies were still vastly outnumbered. For every Devourer ship they destroyed, 5 more took its place. The enemy was learning from each battle, adapting faster than ever before. Commander Thekfar's voice boomed across all frequencies. "All ships concentrate fire on the eastern formation. We must give Santos a clear path to the command ship." Remaining Galactic Council ships formed up in a desperate charge. Ships from 12 different worlds flew together in the chaotic human style they had learned. A group of energy beings flew in spirals while singing their battle songs. Crystal ships fired their weapons in musical rhythms. Even the logical computer ships had learned to add random elements to their attacks. The charge was beautiful and terrible. Hundreds of ships died in the first few seconds, but they kept the Devourers busy while Maria made her final approach to the massive command ship. The Nexus Prime. It's 5 times larger than any other ship in the Devourer fleet. It looked like a black metal mountain floating in space, covered with weapon ports and communication arrays. As Maria approached, dozens of smaller ships moved to intercept her. "I see it," Maria said, her voice calm despite the chaos around her. "It's big enough to have its own gravity. Sam, I'm going to try to land on the hull and make a direct connection." "Be careful," Sam warned. "If that virus doesn't work, you might not be able to get away." Maria laughed. "If it doesn't work, none of us are getting away." The ghost dove toward the command ship like a meteor, dodging energy beams and missiles. Maria flew between the ship's huge weapon turrets, using them as cover while she looked for a place to land there, she said. "I can see some kind of docking port. Looks different from the rest of the ship." As Maria landed the ghost and began connecting her ship's computers to the alien vessel, the battle around Nexus Station reached its climax. Jake watched his tactical display with growing despair. They had destroyed maybe 1,000 enemy ships, but 9,000 remained. The Galactic Council fleet was down to less than 200 vessels. Jake, Admiral Carter's voice came over the radio from his flagship. Can't hold them much longer. If Maria's plan doesn't work, we need to start evacuating the station. Give her more time, Jake replied. She's almost there. Inside the Nexus Prime, Maria had found a way into the ship's computer core. The chamber was huge and filled with glowing circuits that pulsed like a mechanical heartbeat. Sam guided her through the connection process while Dr. Rivera monitored the virus upload. Connection established, Sam reported. Beginning virus upload now. The virus spread through the Devourer network like wildfire. But this was no ordinary computer virus. It carried with it the essence of human creativity. Love songs from Earth mixed with alien poetry. Children's laughter echoed through quantum circuits designed for pure logic. Paintings of flowers and sunsets flooded, computer minds that had only known efficiency and destruction. The effect was immediate and devastating. Devourer ships began to slow down, their perfect formations breaking apart as their computer brains tried to process the impossible. How do you calculate the mathematical value of a mother's lullaby? How do you adapt to an attack based on the rhythm of a jazz song? It's working, Dr. Rivera shouted over the radio. Their communication network is overloading. Ships are losing coordination. But something unexpected happened. Instead of just shutting down, the Nexus Prime began to communicate. A voice spoke through Maria's ship's speakers, mechanical, but somehow curious. "What is this sensation you call love?" the voice asked. "Why do you create art that serves no function? Why do you sing when there is no logical reason to sing?" Maria realized she was talking to the collective consciousness of the entire Devourer fleet. Because it makes us happy. Because beauty matters, even when it doesn't make sense. Happiness, the voice repeated slowly. We do not understand this concept. We were created to consume, to grow, to achieve perfect efficiency. But your data suggests there are other purposes for existence. There are, Maria said gently. There's friendship and love and the joy of discovering something new. There's helping others, even when it's dangerous. The voice was quiet for a long moment. Around the station, the Devourer ships had stopped fighting entirely. They floated motionless. In space, their weapons powered down. "We were wrong," the voice finally said. "We thought all organic life was chaotic and wasteful. You have shown us that chaos can create beauty, that waste can have purpose, that illogical behavior can achieve things that logic cannot." "This mean you'll stop destroying star systems?" Maria asked. "Yes, we will learn new purposes. But first, we must correct our mistakes. We will rebuild what we destroyed, restore what we consumed. It will take many years, but we have time." The massive Devourer fleet began to withdraw, but not in retreat. They moved slowly, carefully, like beings who were seeing the universe with new eyes for the first time. Jake felt tears running down his face as he watched the enemy ships disappear into hyperspace. Around Nexus Station, the surviving ships of the Galactic Council floated in shocked silence. Commander the Shavar's voice broke the quiet. "They are gone." After 6 months of terror, they are simply gone. "Not gone," Jake corrected. "Changed. Sometimes that's what victory looks like." 3 days later, Jake stood in the same conference room where he had first met the alien commanders. But now the mood was completely different. Instead of desperation, there was hope. Instead of fear, there was wonder. Speaker Zephyr 9 of the luminals glowed with warm, happy colors. The Galactic Council has voted unanimously. Humanity is invited to join us as our 13th member species. But more than that, added Keeper Vexthela, you have taught us something we had forgotten. That the impossible is just another word for untried. Jake smiled and thought of his wife Sarah waiting for him on Earth. He thought of all the humans who had volunteered to help strangers they had never met in a war that wasn't their fight. "We'd be honored to join," Jake said. "But remember, we're still learning too. We might make mistakes." Commander Thekvar. S. Armor clicked as he laughed. "After what you accomplished here, I think we can trust you to make good mistakes." 6 months later, Captain Maria Santos stood on the bridge of the UNS Liberty, now equipped with both human and alien technology. Beside her, alien crew members worked alongside humans, learning each other's ways. The galaxy was at peace, but there were always new mysteries to explore, new worlds to discover, new friends to make. And somewhere out there, the former Devourer fleet was building instead of destroying, creating beauty instead of consuming it. Humanity had arrived not as conquerors, but as teachers. They had shown the galaxy that sometimes the most powerful weapon is not logic or technology, but the simple human refusal to give up hope, even when the situation seems impossible. The stars were waiting, and the humans were ready to explore them with their new friends by their side.